Well, good Monday, everybody. We got through Friday the 13th. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And for the fathers out there, I hope you enjoyed Sunday. Guess that was all the way yesterday. I'm Kevin Rouch. This is the Daily Scrum. It's Monday, June 16th. We're here at the Elmwood Media Complex in Studio B. Reverse the way I usually say that. And it, as I said, is the Daily Scrum. On our slide today, there you see a couple of happy guys. That's Diego Rossi on the right and Daniel Gazdag on the left. Gazdag just fed Rossi for what turned out to be the winning goal on Saturday for the Crew. And we'll talk about that in just a second as they get back on the winning side. It's been a while. If you go to the website today, I have a brand new commentary out today, hard-hitting stuff, talking about the high school year that is now in the books. Once baseball ends in the spring, that's it until we get into August. We got a couple of months to plan for the fall onslaught of high school sports, which we love. So 2 months we're going to be without that, but it was an exciting baseball ending, especially for Central Ohio. We'll talk about that too today. But again, on the slide, Diego Rossi and Daniel Gazdag, the Columbus Crew. And they finally, and again, we have a story about that. And again, remind you about our stories. We try to bring you, and they're just a little longer than summaries. We try to give you the facts that you might need to stay up to date without reading more long-form content, especially about game stories. But if you look there today, the Crew scored quickly, got on the board in a big-time hurry. Ibrahim Alayu got the pass from Lassi Lapalainen and was able to get it in the first, a minute 8 into the match. Second fastest regular season goal in team history. A minute 8 into it. The Whitecaps didn't waste much time. 4 minutes later, they tied it up. And then still in the first half, Diego Rossi did take a pass after Daniel Gazdag intercepted Vancouver deep in their own territory. He then hit a wide open Diego Rossi right in front of the goal to have him put it in, and everybody held on. The Crew actually scored 3 times in the second half, but all of them were negated by offsides calls. So they one closer than the others. But they did hang on, getting the win 2-1. Last time they won a match was all the way back on May 3rd. That was a match at home against Charlotte. Since then, losses and draws, and finally get back on the winning side. And it was without some players. Arfston gone, playing in the Gold Cup. You still have Patrick Schulte gone. His backup gone. So, and that's Nicholas Hagan. You go down a ways before you get some players on the pitch, but apparently had the right guys out there, and they win it 2-1. Good to see. They get about a week and a half off. They'll play next on Wednesday, June 25th. Atlanta United FC comes to Columbus on that Wednesday, the 25th, kickoff at 7:30. So you can check out that article for a little bit more information. By the way, not an easy win. Vancouver, that was only their second loss of the season. They are in first place in the West. So not having a full complement of their team on a streak going the wrong way and a really good team in town and still get the win. So that's a bigger deal than some may see it as. The NBA playoffs, as we look at some national stuff, they are tied up at 2-2 after Oklahoma City won on Friday night in Indianapolis. They will head back. Actually, tonight they'll play in Oklahoma City at the Paycom Center. Game 5, all tied at 2. That's at 8:30 tonight on TNT. So OKC comes back and evens it up with it was kind of a 10-point game throughout the fourth quarter. In the NHL playoffs, and tomorrow we will have our good friend Ed Francis back on from First Ohio Battery to talk about the NHL playoffs. Florida took a 3-2 lead with a big 5-2 win at Edmonton Saturday. And Brad Marchand is a beast in this series. What a great acquisition by Florida. I mean, Seth Jones was a good idea on their blue line, but Brad Marchand has just played better than I think most people thought he would, trying to work his way into this system. He has 6 goals in this Stanley Cup Finals series. And by the way, that's the most by any one player in a final since Esa Tikkanen in 1988. 37 years ago. Tikkanen played, coincidentally, ironically, for the Oilers. But Marchand, and I was talking to a friend over the weekend, and she has big Blue Jackets fan, but also she grew up in Boston, and she and her husband still have season tickets in Boston as well. So huge hockey fans. And just so sorry to see Brad Marchand go. Kind of divided on how to treat him with another team. I think we all go through that, right? When we see somebody, especially, well, I don't think Marchand was unhappy in Boston. I think he was unhappy with the way things were going right now. I mean, he's won a cup there. But wow, has he put them in a good spot. And you've got in Florida, and we'll talk with Ed about this tomorrow. In Florida, you've got this very physical, bordering on difficult play at the whistle. Just under the skin people, even before Marchand got there. And he is the leader of that movement of skating off the ice and bumping into people and talking. And he has just taken them, in my opinion, to a new level. So that game will be tomorrow night. So we'll have a chance to talk to Ed first about that. Again, Ed Francis from First Ohio Battery. We sit together at the Blue Jackets games up high above the rink. So we'll have that. But they do the Oilers and the Panthers. With the Panthers a chance to win it at home for the second straight year. Tomorrow night, that gets underway at 8 o'clock on TNT. And again, that'll be at Amerant Arena in beautiful Sunrise, Florida. Not that close to Miami. U.S. Open, I don't think I've ever seen a course that hard in my life. And then you throw in rain yesterday. There's been a lot of talk about relief from casual water and things like that. And you wonder if the USGA, now keep in mind, if this isn't your thing, the USGA is different than the usual week to week PGA Tour. And the PGA Tour is different than the PGA of America. PGA of America is the pros at your local golf course. They go to school, sponsored by the PGA of America, and they're certified or, given a blessing by the PGA of America. But a long time ago, PGA Tour split away from PGA of America to form a tour to put together what we think of as that week in, week out, that also has the Corn Ferry Tour and the America's Tour. We used to call it the Senior Tour, now the Champions Tour. That's all PGA Tour. Now, you throw in the USGA, and the USGA, it's kind of the old granddad of golf. It does the U.S. Open, the U.S. Amateur, the same events on for the senior players, the women players. They do those kind of special events. They work with teams that play internationally. Walker Cup for amateurs, for example. So they have just a different role. And there are a lot of people that think that they love it when the course is super hard. And it may be hard in both ways. The ground is hard and it rolls. But man, that rough was maybe the worst I've ever seen in a tournament. And for those of us that play nowhere near that level, I can't even imagine that. I think I don't know if, again, people in that 10 to 20 handicap could have broken 200. I mean, just getting in and out of that rough, and then the chance that it's going to go right back in it or one of those bunkers. Unbelievable that anybody got to under par in that thing, and there was only one of them, and it was the winner, J.J. Spawn, on Father's Day. His wife and two little girls out there. And interesting story, this guy. He's battled to stay up there. And I don't think really realized it until he this year got in a playoff with Rory McIlroy at the Players in Florida, which is kind of termed the fifth major by some folks. So I think he realized he could do it. But if you saw the interview, he on yesterday morning, he had to get up at 3:00 in the morning to go to CVS because one of his kiddos was not feeling well. He was in search of Pedialyte and crackers. And I can tell you from volunteering at the memorial, there are probably people that would have done that for him. He could have called on somebody, he didn't. He went in search on his own to find something open. He said a CVS. Found out they didn't open then. So he went back to sleep, went home or went to the apartment and went to sleep, and then left again later when he knew they would be open to go get all that. Now that's Father's Day. And then making that 64-foot putt on the last hole, and his reaction with his caddy and the crowd and his family, and it was just great. And, all these folks that jump online who want to make the USGA some kind of villain, look, they all played the same course. It's like with umpires, you might not agree with the strike zone. Everybody's playing with that. It's up to you to figure it out. If you don't like something, sure, you can talk about it. You can review it. I don't think it's right to jump out in front of the cameras right away and yell about it. But for fans who think they know better, there's so much planning that goes into how those courses are going to play, and everybody agrees to do that. I mean, one of the players, I can't remember off the top of my head, didn't make the cut and went to town on the locker room. And I think he'll be disinvited from the social hour at Oakmont. But I mean, come on. You've agreed to play this. You've agreed to play this course under these conditions. It's not a surprise. Oakmont is not new. Been a number of championships there. I mean, come on. Play it. Don't play it. Hats off to J.J. Spawn, who did play it. He got down, changed his whole mindset when the rain delay came back out. Played really well. So that's what you like to see. Now, a couple local guys at the Open. Jason Day, who finishes up tied for 23rd, and that's fantastic on that course. And he was banged up a little bit, did not play at the Memorial. But he had a 67 on Friday, made the cut easily, and then a little bit of a roller coaster over the weekend, but finishes at 8 over, tied for 23rd. And keep in mind, only one person was under par. So hopefully he can jump back out on the PGA Tour. And he was having a great year to start out with this season, and he wasn't able to compete. Let's hope that's all put back together. The other person that played did not make the cut, Maxwell Moldovan, an OSU grad from all the way back in 2024. Third time qualifying for the U.S. Open in a very young life. He missed the cut for the second time. He did make the cut in 2023. But again, an OSU guy from Uniontown, Ohio, Green High School up near Akron. He'll go back to the PGA Americas Tour, which is kind of the third tour. You've got the PGA Tour, then you've got Korn Ferry Tour, and then you've got the PGA Americas Tour. They play South America and Mexico in the first part of the season when you want to be warm, and now they're playing in Canada. He did win a tournament, did Maxwell Moldovan, in Brazil earlier this year. Good player and young, still working on it. You know, the MLB, we talk about baseball on Mondays, but we're going to kind of limit it today to a big trade that was announced over the weekend. Surprising trade over the weekend. Rafael Devers from the Boston Red Sox, who was hitting 272 and 58 runs batted in. We've almost reached the halfway mark of the season. I think 73 games he played for Boston. But he was traded to San Francisco, who is in a big, well, Boston's doing fine. They're in contention. So that's why it was surprising, kind of out of the blue. The Giants right behind the Dodgers. So they were looking for some more hitting. The guys going to Boston, left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison, right-handed pitcher Jordan Hicks, prospects and outfielder James Tibbs, and minor league right-handed pitcher Jose Bello. Now you might wonder, why would Boston unload Rafael Devers? I mean, he's making, he just signed in 2023, signed an 11-year, these numbers are hard to say, 11-year, $330 million contract extension. He's been at Boston for a long time. But he was not very happy when they picked up Alex Bregman because he got moved off third base, played, hit at the DH spot. And then they wanted to move him to first when the player went down because of an injury. He didn't like all of that. And I don't think he was probably looked at as the best clubhouse guy after all that, I guess. I don't know. Wasn't there. Just guessing. But apparently they felt strongly enough about it that they traded him away. We'll see how he does with San Francisco. They seem to be excited to get him. Good player. And has been a consistent good player for a while. So we'll see how that plays out in San Francisco. Wanted to remind you as we get to the local stuff, one thing that we said quickly on Friday, but just want to hit it again real quick, is that the Ohio High School Athletic Association has changed its rules on football starting this fall. And that is there will only be 12 qualifiers in each division, not 16. I'm sorry, in each region. Regions, then 4 regions go into a division. There are 7 divisions. That would be, if you're doing the math along with me, 28 regions in total, but only 12 qualifiers in each region as opposed to 16. It's been 16 for a little while, right before that 8, and then moons ago it was 4. But now it's going to be 12. The top 4 teams in each region will receive first week byes. And there will be 3 home games. Or there will be, well, let's put it better. There will be home games through the first 3 rounds to the better seed. So instead of 2 rounds, it'd be 3 rounds. Probably better attendance and a little more excitement at the game in that 3rd round. So, see how that might change things. I mean, there are a couple of regions that have just 17 teams, so probably a good idea to back it up to 12. So on the website, I mentioned before, a new commentary, and again, not controversial, just kind of, not that they ever are, but just summing up. I think I should. Well, we'll see. We'll see if the insurance is paid up. This one, don't have to worry about as we talk about another high school year in the books and talk about the teams and, in some instances, the individuals that made it exciting to cover all of this year. Looking to expand that for us, for C-Bus Sports. Looking to expand that in the fall in a number of ways. We just got to make sure we've got the bandwidth to do it. And if you saw our tweet just a little bit earlier or our post on X, we don't have the biggest. Studio B is not the biggest place. So we want to make sure that we can get all that done. But yeah, stay tuned for the fall on that. Clippers win another series, 2 in a row. 4-2 in Buffalo. On our homepage, you see that's Joey Cantillo, who came back down not long ago. Only threw a couple of innings yesterday, but what a weird game. I mean, you just see something new at the ballpark all the time. I did play-by-play in minor league baseball for 8, almost 9 years. And it was remarkable how you would see either a call on the field or just a play or just something different all the time, if not every day. Yesterday, the 2 teams, the Clippers and the Buffalo Bisons, they went to extra innings tied 0-0. And Cantillo, and his I hope he wasn't injured. I haven't had a chance to talk to my folks. They're all on the road today, coming back to Columbus. But it may have been planned just how many innings, how many pitches he was going to throw. He just went 2. And then a usual starter, Aaron Davenport, came in relief and threw 4.2 innings. So that may have been planned that way, especially when you have a starter that jumps back in there. And he has been getting better every single time. And this time, he did not allow a run. No, did he? No, he allowed 1 run in 4.2 innings. No, I'm sorry. Let me get it right. He allowed 1 hit. That was the only hit that Buffalo had in the first 9 innings. That's no runs. Want to make sure I get this right. No runs for Buffalo. Only 1 hit. So Cantillo starts, then Davenport. Then you get a couple more guys. Let's make sure we get we want to give them right. Luis Frias and Zach Kent also hitless relief to get to the 10th inning, and then everything just exploded. Columbus scored 7 runs in the 10th. And remember, they get a runner at second base. But they were able to get that runner home, and 6 after that. Nobody had more than 1 RBI for Columbus. That's how consistent the hitting was in the 10th inning. And then, just to make it exciting, Buffalo scores 3 times. So all 10 runs in the game came in the 10th inning. Ow, coincidental. And at the end of things, it was trying to see if we've got this. It was Parker Mashinsky who came in. Had a little bit of trouble, but pitched his way out of it. And they get the 7-3 win, all the runs coming in inning number 10 for the Clippers yesterday. Off today, Monday, they will be at Huntington Park starting tomorrow night against Indianapolis. Yeah, it's Diamond Dog night tomorrow night. You know that. Everybody knows that. It used to be on Mondays, but they don't play on Mondays anymore. So it's become a Tuesday thing whenever they're at home. Doug Nikhazy will take them out for the Clips tomorrow. And so anyway, hope to get out there myself tomorrow night. We hope that the weather holds off. Boy, they just have had no luck this year. They've had a couple of beautiful days and a lot of either threatening or raining. So hopefully that gets fixed soon. But they'll have 6 against Indianapolis this week. I think they have a day game on Thursday, one of those 12:05 games. And then a 1:05 on Sunday. Otherwise, 7:05, like tonight. Like tomorrow night. Again, hope to see you out there. So that was a big series win. But the big kind of baseball news, the Olentangy Braves are state champions in baseball. What a great game they played yesterday at Canal Park in Akron. Beat Springboro 2-1. Olentangy scored a couple of runs in the first inning and then held on. And we do have a link to that story too from our front page today. And just got great pitching under head coach Ryan Lucas, a Darby guy. Like coaching the Braves well, it was Cameron Birch, the starting pitcher. He went 5 innings, just allowed 1 run on 3 hits, struck out 7. Good, really good outing. Birch is off to Marietta College, one of the great D3 programs in the country. He'll go down there. And then a couple of innings to close it out. Cooper Tracy did not give up a hit, struck out 4 in his 2 innings of work, and picked up the save. Big win. And the runs came Dominic Perrone and Luke Chalicki. They both had 2 out RBI singles to drive in those runs, and they held up 2-1 is the final. Olentangy, their very first Division I state championship. They beat, to get out of the regional, which was really tough in Central Ohio, they beat Grove City 4-2, and then in the state semifinal beat Lakota West, a really good program, 3-1. So all those games close, and that means your pitching has got to be good, and it was. The only other Olentangy team to win a baseball crown was Liberty back in 2018. Orange and Berlin have both been to the state tourney without winning the title game. So again, hats off to the Braves and head coach Ryan Lucas for a great season. And maybe not the team that everybody picked, but boy, they earned it especially the way they threw the ball from the mound. Really, really good. It doesn't hurt when you get a couple of runs in the first inning. It gives you a lot of confidence and lets you pitch a little looser. So congrats to the Braves. The other 2 teams that made the tournament, Newark Catholic got all the way to the finals, but lost to Minster 8-0 on Saturday. And New Albany, heartbreaker, They fall in the semifinals to Amherst Steel 3-2 in 10 innings. And that was on Friday. So again, the games are only supposed to go 7, so that went 3 extras. But anyway, for all 3 of those teams, Newark Catholic, New Albany, Olentangy, great job to get there. It is hard to get there. And when you get to the regionals, because the games are so close, you just can't have one pitching phenom. You better have a couple of guys that can start and get you into at least the middle innings. Because the games are close together, you just don't have the guy available. A lot of teams have that one great pitcher, but on that second game in the regionals, you find out. And the same in the state tournament. Usually it's 2 games in successive days. So you got to be ready. Ohio State track and field, 15 of the Buckeyes went to the finals in Eugene, Oregon. And some we have a story about that as well. See how this works. You could pretty much just follow along. We've got it's a tweet from Ohio State track and field / cross country and showing Leah Bertrand, who finished, let's kind of back up a little bit. She's a native of Trinidad and Tobago, senior at Ohio State, and has been good in indoor and outdoor teams since she was a sophomore when she really kind of cracked into the starting lineup. Been really good indoors in the 60 meters, outdoors in the 100 and the 200, and in the relays. Earlier this season, in order to qualify for the finals at the first round of the NCAAs in Jacksonville, Florida, she set an Ohio State record in the 100 meters with a 10.92. And at the final, she ended up in 5th place. We're going to talk about that in just a sec. She also finished 4th in the 200 meters. So top 5s in the 100 and 200, and that is fantastic. Now, we mentioned she has the Ohio State record is 10.92 for the 100. Her time in Eugene was 11.21, but it seemed to be a slower track because the winner in the 100, USC's Samira Moody, won at 11.14, 11.14. So a little slower track than it was in Florida. And Bertrand in the 200, in case you know these times, you can relate, 22.60 in the 200, the winning time, not that far ahead, 22.21. So less than a half second separated first and fourth in that race. The winner was South Carolina's Jamesia Ford. Also, in the finals, OSU junior Janella Spencer, she finished 6th in the 100-meter hurdles. She had a time of 13.25. Oregon's home track, Aaliyah McCormick, won the event with a 12.81. But again, you're talking about less than a half second. Sophomore DJ Fillmore, he finished in 19th in the long jump, jumping 24 feet, 3.5 inches. Not his best, of course, looking at this season. I don't know what it is about Eugene that you go down a couple of, you ratchet down a little bit. I mean, this happened to everybody. And then Tanner Watson finished 24th in the men's discus. So Ohio State, good job. But Leah Bertrand, I'm going to guess, I don't know how the pandemic figures with her, that extra year that you got. I don't know if she'll be back for another one or not. Gosh, I hope so. Again, in the top 5 in both 100 meters and 200 meters. Never been to Trinidad and Tobago. Sounds like it would just be beautiful. We'll have to look into that. Let's get the research team on that. See if we can get some pictures. Sounds lovely. I bet you she thinks so too, especially January and February in Columbus. But again, great job. Great job. Before we go to trivia, hey, we've got a couple of guests coming in this week, so we hope you'll jump on with that. Tomorrow, Ed Francis from the First Ohio Battery, we're going to talk about the NHL playoffs with that game tomorrow night. Florida could win it all with a victory at home in Game 6. And then on Wednesday, first-time guest Logan Morris will join us, real good friend. He has a podcast called Racing Refresh. He knows everything there is to know about NASCAR. And then we'll argue a bit about IndyCar if he wants to go there. But we'll talk about NASCAR and what's going on there. He has some interesting slants on it that I'm looking forward to hearing. That'll be on Wednesday, and we're efforting for some more. So stay tuned on that. But Ed Francis tomorrow, Logan Morris from Racing Refresh, which we'll talk more about it, but you can get that on Facebook, his podcast. All right, time for trivia. Now, our last question on Friday, because we were talking about Leah Bertrand and track and field and running fast. And our question was, who is the woman that holds the 100-meter world record? And I said, you're going to have to go back more than a few years. And this is a name that everybody knows, even casual fans know. And the answer is Florence Griffith Joyner. And there's a hyphen in there, Florence Griffith Joyner. She set the record all the way back in 1988, has not been topped. 10.49 seconds. Unbelievable. 37 years ago. Still there. And she was something. I believe from East St. Louis, Illinois, just across the river. That would be the mighty Mississippi. But what an incredible athlete she was. But she still has the record, 100 meters, 10.49, set back in 1988. Today's question, because we were talking about Rafael Devers being traded from Boston to San Francisco in Major League Baseball, we just want to know, you can see if you can do this real quick off your head, off the top of your head. You ready? From what country is Rafael Devers? See how we did the preposition right there? From what country is Rafael Devers? And there's a famous saying associated in baseball with this country. And we'll talk about that tomorrow as well. All right. That's where we are. And we will, kind of put the studio back together. I was a little rough on it this morning. Ed Francis in tomorrow. Logan Morris from Racing Refresh to talk about motor racing. They'll be in on Wednesday. You just never know who's going to show up. We're glad you did. So from Studio B here at the Elmwood Media Complex, on behalf of the Daily Scrum, I'm Kevin Rouch. Good afternoon, everyone.